And take it away for Kaylee.
Hey guys. I don't know if I can hear. Yeah.
Any questions for Kaylee?
I got one. So what are some things that you remember from last season's 1v2 matchup versus UCLA? Maybe something about the atmosphere, and how anxious are you to be able to host another big time matchup again in Baton Rouge this weekend?
Yeah. Honestly, I remember it being like a heaven on earth moment. Me and Liv actually went and watched our matches at the Sixes. And it was just this unbelievable high, getting to play in an environment like that, surrounded by so many fans. You know, as beach volleyball players, we don't get that opportunity very often. So it's cool to be surrounded by so many people cheering us on, and just the intensity was crazy, and just the level of volleyball was just so incredibly high for that match. So it was really fun to be a part of that, and I'm looking forward to doing it again this weekend.
Even though this season is different, and there won't be a chance to break last year's record attendance, but it's still impressive that LSU continues to host these big time matchups. Like, what are your thoughts on specifically Baton Rouge becoming kind of center stage for beach volleyball?
Yeah, I think LSU SEC has given us a really amazing stadium and a really awesome opportunity to do that. They've invested so much in us, and we've given the opportunity to represent them every single time we step out into the stadium. So it's really cool what we have here, and it's really an honor to be a part of it.
Thank you.
So talking a bit more about that atmosphere, last season, the day everything sort of came to a close, March 13th, you were scheduled to play a home game against Spring Hill College that day. Can you talk about like missing out on that second home set of games from last season?
Yeah, when everything got canceled, it was, truly heartbreaking. I remember that day I think got called back into the stadium 3 or 4 times, just getting updates, getting meetings, and just there was so much uncertainty surrounding it, especially with us gearing up all week, ready for another strong weekend. So for it to end like that was really, really hard. But I think all of us, it's exciting that we're all back and ready to pursue another title.
You guys have anything else for Kaylee?
They put it in the chat.
Oh yeah,
So in the record book, y'all call the stadium the best atmosphere in beach volleyball. You're a senior now, so you've played in a lot of places. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there's just nothing like it. Playing on the beach is something special and something a part of our sport. But the fact that we get to play in a stadium like this, I think is just so unique. There's nothing like it in beach volleyball. So I think it's a really awesome opportunity and really different for anyone else who gets to come here. So the fact that we get to do it every day is amazing.
You can answer the one in the chat. You can just say there's one in the chat, read it, and then answer it.
I think they were talking to each other.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
You guys have anything else for Kaylee? All right, thank you, Kaylee.
Good. All right, thank you guys.
Leave the recording up. I'm gonna go grab Tony Rodriguez, and we'll be right back in.
Fellas, y'all get all what y'all want from Tony. I'm just here for Brock, just letting you know.
Sounds good.
All right.
I don't think I have much for Tony. I think I just have one for Brock, and then I'll be out.
I have found a way to connect Russell Brock with Paul Maneri for a story. It's fantastic.
Just another day.
Well done.
All right, guys, we got senior Tony Rodriguez coming up. She's ready, excited to talk to you guys. So ask her whatever you want.
Tony, I got a question for you. Were you coaching volleyball over the summer?
Yes, I was coaching over the summer. I had a job as an assistant indoor coach at Santa Monica High School this past summer. Into the fall, I did that, and I do some lessons with girls, just every once in a while.
Yeah, I had to ask that because I heard from a couple of my students, I'm a teacher, that you were giving them lessons in volleyball. So
Yeah.
I was interested in that.
Yeah, that's what I want to do after I'm done playing at LSU. I want to, well, first I'll pursue a professional career and then go on to coach. So.
You've played indoor and now beach. How does LSU Beach Volleyball Stadium stack up to all the venues you've played in?
Yeah, for indoor, obviously, usually we're in like a big gym or kind of like a big arena. And for our stadium now is just amazing. I love that it's outside. Obviously, beach volleyball is going to be played in the sand. But this stadium is like the best in the country, hands down. I mean, it's amazing. I know people are like fighting to get in here this weekend. So people want to just experience this atmosphere in this, the stadium that's been built.
Kind of want to piggyback off that. I know you guys won't be able to like break the attendance record this year or something like that, but it's still impressive that Baton Rouge has become kind of like center stage for beach volleyball. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And Louisiana and LSU becoming kind of like center stage for the sport?
Yeah, it's honestly pretty amazing. I mean, this sport is, continually growing, but to have it become so big this past year, playing at home versus UCLA, I felt like our community just was amazing and created an atmosphere that like helped us get that win. And so like we owe it to them just as much for, taking down that number 2 team. But yeah, I think it's just amazing how, the community was awesome at Mangoes as well. And how it's just like kind of like evolved from Mangoes to here. It's just been really cool to see that happen.
Thank you.
Y'all got any questions for Tony? Anything else?
I think we're all good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
I'll go grab Russell and we'll be back any minute. Nice. Tony already went too? Ready to go. All right, guys, Coach Brock here. We'll start just with an opening statement sort of about last weekend and then going into this weekend, and then I'll take questions from you guys.
Last weekend was good. Like, I think, there's obviously going to be some rust, and, we played a new lineup with some young kids in there, and every time we walked out on the sand, we got better. And that's all you can really ask for. Get 4 wins, improve, kind of get those jitters and that rust knocked off. And then obviously this weekend, getting an opportunity to play some great competition and getting to play at home. It's been almost a year since, since we've been able to play here. And so to be able to do that and to have a big matchup coming up is obviously great. So we're real excited. Had a great practice today. Yesterday was miserable and we had a good practice. But that's Louisiana weather. So makes us stronger.
Hey, Coach, second straight year with a top matchup in the second week. Is this something you do strategically to schedule tough out of the gates, or is this, just like a coincidence to get a top matchup 2 years in a row in the same week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to play great teams. Last year it was significantly more intentional because we had way more flexibility in our travel, so we could really kind of pinpoint like who we wanted and where we wanted to play them. So to go to Hawaii and get UCLA and Hawaii and Stanford right out of the gate, that was absolutely intentional. We knew that it would be a long trip, it'd be taxing, it'd be hot, and we knew we had a great team, so we wanted to get battle tested right out of the gate. Let's see how good we are. This year, it's more like we kind of know what we have, so it wasn't nearly as important. And it was way more kind of scheduling out of necessity more than anything else. Like we knew we needed to stay close to home. We knew we really couldn't fly much just because of budget concerns and COVID concerns. So we obviously invited some great programs to come and play, and thankfully they were able to work that travel out as well. I mean, we really did try and have really competitive home events, and they're competitive, but they were even more competitive. Hawaii was supposed to come and they ended up not being able to. UCLA was supposed to come and they ended up not being able to. USC was supposed to come and they ended up not being able to. So like we absolutely specifically tried to schedule the best competition we could possibly face for our home events. And we still ended up having a pretty good group who will be competing with us, but maybe not what it could have been. But once again, that's just kind of how it plays out during this time frame.
Coach, I see on the record book you call the stadium the best atmosphere in beach volleyball. You've been around a lot. Do you think that holds up?
I don't even think it's close. We played a lot of places, and Mango's was a really good place to kind of cut our teeth. But the sounds that I've heard, the energy that I felt, unparalleled. Like it's not even close with any other facility that we've ever played in. It's really unique to have the elevated bleachers that the sounds that you hear coming from the stands are just really special. Like you just don't hear them anywhere else. And it's not to knock those other facilities, but as far as, the experience, it's incredibly unique to play here. And we're super grateful that we get to play in a facility like this.
With the new rules coming out for capacity, are y'all going to extend capacity for beach volleyball, or do you not know yet? Or
yeah, that's for us. It's something that we hope will work out, but we really don't know exactly how it's gonna shake out moving forward. So we're kind of in the same pattern that everybody else is. We're kind of in a holding pattern, and we're hopeful, but until we get it all figured out, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like.
Anything else for Coach Brock, guys?
Nope.
Actually, I have a question now that I think about it. I've seen online, even on Instagram, like the stadium being called Death Volley. Do you know anything about that?
Officially, nah. But I do know that that's kind of, the players have been kind of using that as a kind of homage to Death Valley, obviously. And just kind of, there are a lot of kind of nicknames for stadiums or on campus. You got the box, and you got obviously Death Volley and Death Dome and all kinds of fun little things, and we're just LSU Beach Volleyball Stadium. which is great. It's kind of long. It's a little bit of a mouthful. So I think that, that's kind of their own attempt at doing something a little bit fun. And maybe at some point we'll have a fantastic donor with a really catchy last name, and we'll end up with a catchy name for our facility as well. But until then, I think they're just kind of running with it on their own.
I'll go one more actually. What does it say about your program that, in a state like Louisiana and at a school like LSU, that you've been able to, host these top matchups at home, and you kind of been like center stage of the sport over the last couple of, last 2 years. So like, what does that say about your program, and what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that obviously you have to be decent to attract those type or to be involved in those type of matchups. So, how far we've come from, not knowing what we're doing to be one of the best teams in the country, I think is that's something definitely that we're proud of. As far as drawing that outside competition, that says a lot about our stadium. We haven't had anybody who showed up and has been neutral on, the experience here. Because like I said, it's unique. It's second to none. And even like the first comment that I got from a UCLA coach after we were still in the match, we hadn't even finished, and he came over and he said, "Hey, we want to come back next year. This is amazing. It can't happen anywhere else." So I think it's, part of it is the willingness of TAF and the athletic department to repurpose this facility into what it is, and we're extremely grateful for it. And then the other part of it is, the fans. There are a lot of people that love beach volleyball, but there are way more people that love LSU athletics. And then last year when they saw, look, it's 1 versus 2, it's like, hey, we're pretty good. Let's go check it out. And that's what created the energy. The stadium kind of amplified it, but the reality of just the LSU fans and loving sports and something new and exciting, which our sport is, I think that whole combination is really what makes it so special.
Thank you.
Russell, David from Rivals. If you already addressed this, I apologize. I know you're not going to talk about lineup for coming up, but I'd love to know what went into your thoughts process for splitting up Claire and Kristen. Because from the outsider's perspective, people are going to say it's the winningest pair in the history of the school at the school. What went into that, and is being balanced, maybe splitting them up and giving more balance to everything else, how you're going to win a national championship? Is that part of the ultimate plan?
Yeah, I think that it was a hard decision because obviously we knew what we had. We've seen it for 4 years straight. But every year when we walk into the season, we're saying, how can we be better? And with the progress that Taryn made and the ability to kind of look at a different lineup that gives us a better opportunity to be more balanced, like you say, I think that what we've done so far is a version of what we're capable of doing. I think that you could see, and we know that we've done it in the past, but we've never been able to really have the flexibility to make that adjustment. It hasn't been possible. So now to be in that situation where we can still be super strong and not have them play together, it just gives us another kind of wrinkle that we can use. And eventually at the end of the season, we know that ability will help us be better than we could have been otherwise. So that's always our conversation. How do we get better than we were last year? Or how do we get better than we were last week? And so to have options like that is incredibly unique.
Saying that, is it almost, you want to win every match you're in, obviously, but is it almost, we're willing to take some pain early because we see the greater result at the end where the experience is together, and that gives us the more balance? And if that requires some pain early in the season, it's something we're okay with?
Yeah, I don't think we ever walk out into the sand and expect to have any pain. That's not part of our
growing
scenario. Yeah. But we know, that the pairing of, Taryn and Kristen, we've seen what they can do on the biggest stages through the summer. So that's a known commodity. And we've seen what Claire can do all through her career. So, and we know because we practice all the time with all of our players. Like, and we've talked about it before. One of the best qualities for a beach volleyball player to have is to be able to play with other partners and still be able to reach your potential. And so we feel really good. And that's one of the hardest things about setting our lineup is we know that these players can play well with each other. So there's not a limitation with, oh, well, she can only play with her. She can only play with her. We could literally pull out of a hat and be good to go. And that's when you know, like, you're going to be a tough team to beat, because eventually you're going to have to make some adjustments. And we're not pigeonholed at all into who needs to play with who and who can play where in the lineup. Like, we're as deep and as balanced as we've ever been. And that's got to be, you know, one of the things that gives us an advantage when we step in the sand.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Coach.
We appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.